Much of it, actually.
Good.
Much of it, and some of it's gone to the magistrate.
Okay.
So.
And it's not dropped. It's.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
That's good.
It, the
That's
wheels
good.
of justice can sometimes
And
take
it
a
seems
little
like,
time
you
to
know, the more
grind.
you talk to people, they're willing to comply, you know, within reason, and they're fairly, you know, fairly all right. Yeah.
Probably.
No, too many arguments.
Probably 95%.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, it's a nice town. We want to keep it looking good. That's the bottom line. So far, so good. Keep going. That's it. That's it.
Sherry, any word on Scott? Do you have anything on Scott or Randy's projects?
Actually, I have something that sort of falls under Scott. Our emergency phone system is now up and running, and we have the ability, within a drop of a hat, to get isolated areas messages, the whole town message, should an emergency happen, a specific area, should a water break happen. So it's all up, it's running. With the high rise, we had to ask the people to send us their phone numbers. I've only gotten about a third of those back to date, but they weren't allowed to give them to us because of privacy law.
Becky couldn't give them.
No. And so she asked us to prepare a little flyer to go around. And people have been calling in. And so probably a third of them have called in, we've added them, but we have the ability to go in and add anybody that calls in.
Explain the system.
The system, basically what we had to do is take everyone in town. We had little bottom of the newsletter. And what happens is they filled it out, sent it in. We took existing phone numbers that we have in our database. Of course, all these numbers are kept confidential because a lot of them are unlisted and just given to us for the purpose of emergencies. So we put them all together in a database. As soon as I had a good feeling that we had the bulk of the numbers in, we've uploaded them to the SwiftReach internet site, and you can sort by, like I could sort by anybody that lives on Carla Drive. I could sort by anybody that lives in the 200 block of Carla Drive, everybody that lives in the Riverside Court, and then I could record a message and have that message sent to us.
Just sent to that group.
And so it functions not, it actually was originally that we had to do that for water safety and water outages, that sort of thing. But the beauty of it is there are so many applications, and we don't want to overuse it, of course. But, you know, I mean, anytime a water break happens, instead of calling the neighbors, there we go.
Does that give you like a printout or something like this?
Yes.
Of all the phones that have been,
Or how often you've used it.
all the calls that have
Yes,
been accepted?
and it will retry the phones that aren't answered. It recognizes answering machines and will leave a message. It's very,
Oh, that's
very
neat.
high tech. And Kathy and I went through a pretty intensive training for a couple of hours on the internet. So we could do it right down in the office during office hours. And it was beautiful because we really, I really had a good handle on
Did
it.
you say we had to do this for water purposes?
We did.
Every municipality now has had to.
Every
has to
single
do-
municipality.
Is there a charge for this?
There is a charge which we build into the budget, and right now as it stands, it was $400 to get it up and running. And then eventually, probably based on how many notices you have to send out and the area that you have to send them out to, we budgeted $2,000, but it may not even be that. But you know, it's just a really prudent system to
So
have.
who
Like,
required us to do that? The state?
the state did, yes.
State.
And the health department was just in to do our water audit, our annual water visit. And that was one of the first things they wanted to see. Do you have your public notification system up and running?
That's good.
And it's up and running. It's a thing of beauty. The next thing to get up and running is the website, because we're actually supposed to put those notices on the website too. So, but one thing at a time. We know I've got to get my work done, plus do these extra projects, but that's okay. One thing at a time, but that's next.
With the phone system, that was the first priority.
Oh,
That was not
absolutely,
everybody has.
because we would have got a notice of violation if we wouldn't have had that.
Is that the same as that reverse 911?
Basically.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't in Aspinwall at one time, right? Did it?
They
Okay.
still, they
still
have
have it, okay.
So it's a really great system to have, and at a moment's notice, I can access it. Like say I'm at home and something happens in the middle of the night. Somebody can give me a call. I can log on at home. Or say you don't have power down here, but you have phone service. Okay? I can log on at home and get that message out.
has access to do this? Just you and Kathy?
Well, you have to take the class before, but George's not his administrator, I am,
So
and
he can
Kathy.
do it. Kathy, so there's only
George
three that
hasn't
can do it?
actually done the training, but, you know, call me in the middle of the night and I'll send.
And you're at liberty to have us call you at that time. That's fine.
Oh, it
Call you
is.
to do it,
I
because-
wouldn't make a habit, but if there's an emergency,
Yeah,
please.
sure. No, that works.
I need that beauty sleep, you know?
Yeah.
But at
That's
any rate, yeah, and really Kathy's learned and, but I'm your main
Okay, so there's no
guy.
amount of how many people you can call. Say if you have to evacuate the whole town, they're all getting a call.
Uh-huh.
Just like that. That's neat.
It's awesome.
I like that.
Absolutely awesome. It's one of the best things that I've seen work, and it is so user-friendly. You know, if you have a little bit of computer knowledge, you can get you there.
What if computers are down and internet's down?
Well, if computers are down and internet's down, well, it still calls phones. And it'll call cell phones. I've asked people for cell phone numbers as
Okay.
well.
Okay,
If
that's good.
somebody wants to give up their cell phone number, we will put it in and guarantee their confidentiality. So,
That's good. You never know.
I've tried to canvass everybody I possibly can. We tried just a few numbers just to make sure it works. And it does work. But they uploaded beautifully. It was gorgeous.
Okay, do you have anything for Randy?
Well, that kind of falls into Randy. The health department being here falls under Randy as well. That went great. They wanted to inspect our tanks. So they went up to check out the tanks, and I explained to them the grants that we've applied for. They were very interested in that. It just so happens the day before I received the bid that came in for the Cable Avenue tank. My feeling is that it's high. But nonetheless, it shows them that we're making some progress, that we're trying. Yeah, and it's on.
Charts.
Yes, I completely agree with you.
What did, have you talked to Senate about that? Though?
I have.
How could they be so far off in their guess?
Well, actually, a company called KTA Tater, council authorized them to go in and actually do a reevaluation of the study that they did probably 5 or 6 years ago. And what they recommended was spot painting. Now, what Senate felt was the spot painting might not be, they might want to paint the whole thing instead of the spot painting. It's probably as much work. That's what they're thinking that some people felt. Some people were busy doing other tanks and doing full painting of other tanks. But we only got one bid. The bid was really high. Even when KTA Tater gave us a bid idea of what the bids would come at, $65,000 was their high end. We originally got an estimate from the engineers for about 46.
Now, 60 to 46, you can live with that.
Right, exactly. But the bid came in at $140,920.
141,000.
So council will have to take some action on that at the meeting if they choose to do so, you know, whether it's to accept it, reject it. But it really, out of 6 companies that came and got the bid specs, they only had one bid come in. Very strange. But
Very strange.
nonetheless, we'll keep pressing forward. But the health department was really glad. They went up and visited the Carla Dry tank. I told them, I said, really, we don't use that tank. We really don't. So I told them we would like to get a grant. They've been applied for. I showed them that they've been applied for. And to take that down and just put a standpipe there so we could keep our antenna towers and whatnot that we get revenue from. They were happy with that. They had looked at a lot of logs that we keep, so they were through. Not a problem with the health department. That was good. Another thing that we had to do for water, a lot of things. Consumer confidence report had to go out by June 30th. That's that thing you got in the mail. Unfortunately, the boys didn't get the reads to me by that time, so I couldn't send the reads out with those, the water bills out. But we had to get those in the mail to the public by June 30th, which we did. We had to send a certification to DEP, which I did, so that's done. And that's about all I have for water. That's about all I have for emergency management. I need to update the emergency operations plan for water, which I will do. There's specific language that you have to include. We'll take care of that.
Anything else on your end, other than, anything else on your end?
I have a few things in the file here for you to look at. The bid is one thing that you should consider at your regular meeting. We received something from the Pennsylvania Association of Township Supervisors